feet up and cocked out the picture. Must be active if you can wig me. I'll tell my man, put down the linker.
So welcome back to the channel. Today I'm working on the Mustang, just putting some brakes on. I had a little bit of a shake or shimmy in the rotors. Car only has 22,000 miles on it, but somehow I think the rotors are warped. So I am trying to prepare for an autocross on Sunday. So that's the reason I'm changing these. Not doing any special type of brakes, just more or less OEM replacements. Honestly, they were really good brakes, the OEMs were, other than just this shimmy. I've taken it, as you had seen, on quite a few drives, so I don't know if that had something to do with the warpage. Maybe they got wet, and I've been braking with them while they were wet. I'm not really for certain. I do think it's in the front. I hope it's not in the rear, because I'm just replacing the front before the weekend. The autocross is with the Porsche Club. It's actually on Sunday, so I'm hoping that this will fix the issue. We're gonna I've already put the driver's side on. I'm actually gonna go ahead and put the passenger side on. So I'm actually gonna do a walkthrough of how to do a brake replacement on a 2022 Mustang GT. I believe, well, this is a non-performance pack GT, so that does not apply for the performance pack with the Brembos. I believe that this is the same for the 15 to the 23. Don't quote me on that. So I'll walk you step by step on how to do this. So the first part of this, of course, is getting the front wheel off. I tend to try to use a breaker bar. This actually has a specialty socket to use because this the wheels. So I'm gonna go ahead and start loosening these up first. Before I even get it off the ground. I use a 1/2 inch breaker bar. I used a 3/4 the last once before, and I broke the breaker bar. All right, they're loose now. So let's go ahead and jack the car up and then take the wheel the rest of the way off. Always make sure to use jack stands, of course, anytime you work underneath the car or have a wheel off or anything like that. I don't have any jacking plates on the Mustang. So far I've done okay without them. But I do use the jack stand as well. I do have the emergency brake on, and it is in first gear as well. You could chalk the wheels. I recommend it. I don't have mine chalked. I don't advise you to do that at home. All right. Lower it onto the jack stand. All right. So, let's take the wheel the rest of the way off. I tend not to use power tools. It'll probably make this a lot easier, a lot quicker. I feel like sometimes it can even make it easier to strip items if you use the power tools. May not, but that's just been my experience. I've just gotten used to using hand tools. All right, let's get this off there. Okay, well, now, next step in this is, since it's a non-performance pack, let's get the brake pads out. And there's 2 pins located there and there. I'm gonna use a punch. You could probably also use a Phillips head screwdriver on the back side and punch those out. So let me go grab the punch and we'll get started with that. I'm gonna grab a hammer as well. I'm gonna try to make sure y'all have a good angle with this without it being too much in my way. I might just punch out one of them. Well, actually first, before you start punching, I don't know if you can see it or not, there is a clip behind here. You need to pull it out. It's pretty simple. Just pull from the pins. Pull and pull, and there it comes. I don't know if you can see it right there, but there it is. Put it to the side. Sometimes you might have to reuse it. Most of the time your brake pads will come with new ones. I reused the actual one on the OEM one. I didn't use the ones that came with the brake pads. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do that, but it doesn't seem like it's in bad shape, so I just reused the other one. But anyways, so now you can punch out the pins. So, take your punch, get behind there, and right there, line up with it. There's a twig. Okay, get your hammer. There's not a lot of room back here, but best you can. Get lined up. Punch is a little small. Okay, as you can see, it started moving. It started moving a little bit. Let me get a better angle for you all, so I can work a little bit better too. Give me a second. Might be a little further back, but I think I can work better, and I think that you'll be able to see better too, possibly, in the long run. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's the top one, a little bit. Okay, got the bottom one knocked out pretty good. Okay, top one's knocked out pretty good. You can see that. As you can see, it is out now, and just pull. Since one's out pretty good, make sure you're somewhat easy on it. And pull gently. Okay, and there that comes. The top one will pull straight out now. Okay, got that. And these right here, actually it comes with some new ones in the kit, or the brake kits. I did replace the other side with a new one. Pins, of course, it does not. You clean those up with brake cleaner. So let me go get a 15 millimeter. It is a 15 millimeter and a 1/2 inch drive or 1/2 inch breaker bar to get the caliper off. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. I hope that you'll be able to see it. There's two 15 millimeter bolts. One I'm pointing to, let's see, it's right here, and then one right here. And I think it attaches to the knuckle, then to the caliper. And those have to come off to actually pull the caliper and brake pads out. You could go ahead and pull the brakes out. I think I might be able to get one of them out. I can check to see, maybe. I don't think you can get both of them out. Yeah, one came out, one's coming out. So there we go, there's one. There's a lot of brake life left, but again, they're shuttering. And the rotors do look a little, it's hard to really tell. So I'm just hopeful we'll see how they react once I get these new ones on there. Anyways, let's go ahead and loosen this caliper off. And I will say this, the other side was a pain. It's, I think 86 pounds maybe, or 85 pounds that they're torqued to, and it is tight. Okay. Whew, that's not loose, that's for sure. Okay, at least I got that loosened. I can probably use a 1/4 inch here in a second to get it the rest of the way. I have more room with it. Now the top one. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult just because the area I have to work with. I don't have much room up here. I don't think. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, maybe. Let's go with it. And surprisingly, it's going. Good deal. This side was a lot easier. Good deal. Now, I'll go get a 1/4 inch and a 15 millimeter, or a 3/8 inch, I believe, and a 15 millimeter. Make the job a lot easier. Hope you can see what I'm doing, at least somewhat. Let me see, I might have to move this just slightly. There we go. So we get it loose. Gotta be careful because this caliper is heavy and you don't want it to fall on the weight of the brake line. You want to hold it. You can either tie it up with the bungee cord, or there is a place, I'll show you, where you can set it. It's not really the best location, but it does work. It does work. I'm just gonna go back and forth and loosen them at the same time to make it a little bit easier, maybe. I'm still not the loosest, but there it goes. Getting loose. You just gotta hold it while you loosen it. Once it starts getting loose enough. Yeah, it's getting there. Just one bolt. Let's get the top bolt now. Okay, completely loose. And there comes the brake pad, as you can see. And I'll show you the orientations of these. You gotta be very careful of the orientation of the pads when you put them back in. And I'll explain that to you when I put the pads back in. So here is where I'm gonna put the pad, or the caliper. I'll show you that here in a second. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Putting it right here on the arm so it can rest while I work. And it should be hold right there. So it's gonna sit there while I finish with this rotor, and it will stay there sturdy. Now you can hang it, like I said, you can get a bungee cord and hang it, and that's a good option too, and maybe a better option so you can actually work on the caliper, because soon you're gonna have to compress the pistons with the C-clamp, and that's a little bit complicated holding it with your leg or with a box, but you can do it. But right now, this actually works pretty well. Give me a second and I'm gonna get a hammer, and we'll actually have to hammer the rotor off, and that's gonna be the next step. I do have Hubcentric rings because I have aftermarket wheels. A lot of people don't believe in these or run these, I don't think, or some people don't. But I will say they make a world of difference in terms of balancing and shimming on the highway while you're at highway speed. If you ever feel like you're out of balance with your wheels, especially aftermarket wheels really only, and you're at say 70, 80 miles per hour, and you don't have Hubcentric rings, and you don't have a Hubcentric wheel that's made for your specific hub for your vehicle, this is probably the reason why. I would say they're a pain though once you have them on. I got these metal ones this time for this car. I had plastic ones for the WRX. Forethought or afterthought, I wish I'd gotten the plastic ones for this, and I actually reordered metal ones again because I thought that this would be an issue. They're actually rusted on there, but I got some new ones. I'm gonna replace them while I'm in here anyways, since they're kind of molded to the hub, I think. But anyways, here we go. We're gonna hammer this with a dead blow hammer, and it should loosen up pretty easily. The other side did, so you just kind of go around with it, gentle taps, and there it is. Now the Hubcentric ring's gonna make it kind of stick there, and you just kind of have to go back and forth with it. And there it goes. And there it is. And it's heavy. And there's the Hubcentric ring. Like I said, I got some new ones to replace it with. That's pretty rusty. Let me get a brush, and I'll brush in here. I know factory, these have dust covers, dust caps. I guess they took them off because the wheels, their aftermarket wheels, may not fit with them, and that's fine. I don't know the results of that, if it's going to cause any long-term issues, but I do know that I want to get the rust out of these while I'm in here. I'm going to go ahead and brush them out with a copper brush or wire brush, and I'll be right back. All right, so I brought the wire brush over here, and it's pretty simple. It's always good to do this anytime you do a brake job. You just go around it, it's just a little small wire brush, and you get inside, just clean it out. And I would even recommend, if you have the dust cover, if you don't mind, just to take the dust cover off and make sure you don't have a ton of rust in there or anything that needs to be dusted or brushed, because especially if you drive in any type of salt environments. And I know maybe Mustangs may not see, some Mustangs may not see a lot of salt, but there's always going to be a chance of some surface rust, even without salt, just because of contaminants. But I will say that mine has salt in winter weather. I'm not going to keep mine completely garage during the winter months. If it's sunny out, I'm going to drive it, or even if there is some snow, as long as the roads are clear. So again, just make sure the hub's clean, so the rotor will adhere to a flat surface. It might have a little surface rust on it, but that's okay. Just you want to make sure it's clean, flat, and it looks good. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you can go ahead and get the new rotor and clean it up and put it on here, or you can go ahead and prepare the caliper. since we're already over here and I have the C-clamp, I'm gonna go ahead and just prepare the caliper, and then I'll go get the rotor and put it on here and clean it up and put it on here, the new one. So I just use this style C-clamp right here. It's pretty simplistic. I generally like to use the old brake pads to push the pistons back in, but with this style of caliper, I haven't figured out a way to do that, so I've done it individually. I like to push them both in back in at the same time, but from what I'm understanding, it doesn't cause any issue to do them individually. So that's what I've done to the other side. But I will say this, you want to make sure that you open up your brake reservoir. Do not push those back in without opening that brake reservoir and making sure you can let the pressure out. So let's go up top in the engine bay. So on the Mustang, I do believe, I hope I'm right with this, that you open up your brake reservoir so it can relieve the pressure. You can cover it there a little bit just so you won't get anything down in it while you're doing this. So that's while you push the pressure of the pistons back in, and the fluid rises. It's just not, it has somewhere to rise. It's not just pushing against vacuum. Okay. So I'm gonna try to get you the best view of this as I can. Again, this is a little bit hard. I may only do one or two of them just because of the angle of it. I'll have to work kind of in an odd way where I don't have it hung up. So, again, you just take the C-clamp, right here. Make sure you don't let that hang down. You got to hold it. Again, this is kind of odd. Okay, see that there's your pistons inside here. There's 4 of them in the non-performance pack. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. You get your C-clamp, and then you just gonna make sure that you have it kind of. I shouldn't twist it all the way back. Give me a second here. Okay. Well, push it in a little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah. I'm going to put it back up here for just a second. That's heavy. Okay. Okay. Now let's pull it down and see if we can work on this. Again, this is super heavy. I'm gonna try my best here in a second. I'll move my leg to show you what I'm doing. So you're basically just clamping amongst the bottom of the caliper here, and then on the actual thing itself. All right, guys, as I said, I got some OEM top replacements. They're actually Powerstop OEM replacements, but anytime you get new rotors, you want to use some brake clean on them. I generally don't just spray them on them directly. I usually put them on a paper towel, one of these shop towels, spray some powder, the stuff on that, and just then wipe around the contact surface, making sure that you get all any chemicals that was protecting them while they were bagged up or boxed off. You want to do, of course, both sides. So there's that side. And then other side. Okay, so that part is done. They are clean now. Now we're going to go to putting them on. So as you can see, there it is. Let's go ahead and transfer them on over to the hub. And there it is. Okay. And to hold them in place while you actually put your caliper back on, you can hold them with a lug. That works. And let's just do it once over. Might have actually touched it while I was putting it on. Front anyways. All right. So the rotor is prepared and ready to go. So the next thing is to go ahead and put the caliper back in place. Give me 1 second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the caliper back on using the bolts that I took it off with. And then we'll get the brake pads ready. Just 1 second. Next we're going to prep the brake pads. On the stock ones, there were two pieces. There was this piece right here. It was on the on the front. That will not go back on, from my understanding. But you will reuse this metal piece. So what I want to do is I do want to clean it up, the metal piece, with some brake cleaner. So I'm just going to, again, spray onto the paper towel and wipe it down with some brake cleaner. Get it clean somewhat. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of clean it up. Okay. And you do want to make sure that these go back on the correct pad, that they line up. And again, I'll show you where they go. Again, this one has a squealer on it, it looks like. I guess that's what you call it. It is right here. Now this will go on the inside. The new pads, they are also stop tech, but they are also OEM replacements. It does also have a squealer, so it will go on the inside. Make sure, again, that you use the middle piece that corresponds. And it's pretty easy to tell. The holes line up, and that's the holes where the pins go. So you really shouldn't mess these up, I don't think. But just make sure you're verifying all this before you put it back together, or you have to take it back apart. And I'm sure that would not be a fun time. But anyways, clean this one up also with brake cleaner. Okay. The next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and clean up your clean your pins with brake cleaner. Again, the same method. Take your paper towel, spray on it, and just clean your pins. I'm going to re-grease the pins with some brake grease, but I do want to clean the old grease off. Just, you know, kind of, again, doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of clean them up just slightly. Just get them nice and kind of a little cleaner. Okay. Now, for the brake pads, what they suggest and what I've read is you want to go ahead and go around all these with the brake grease anything that's going to touch the caliper. Now this came with some Powerstop. I call them stop tape. They're actually Powerstop rotors and pads. I do apologize, so correction. It came with some grease, so I am going to go around the brakes, making sure that anything that contacts the caliper has got some grease on it. A lot coating. Do not overdo this. Do not touch the pad. It needs to be light. And also make sure it is uniform. You do not want one area to have more than the other. That could also cause a bad time. The reason for this is ideally it'll keep it from squealing. That's the idea behind this brake grease. Again, making sure it is uniform. Sometimes less is more times than not. In this type of thing, this spreads pretty easy, so it's not like it's difficult to deal with or anything of that nature. Just kind of put it on there. Okay, all around. Just want to make sure it looks okay. And also, I like to put some on the back side, because you're going to have a metal piece over top of this. So I put some on the back side that the metal piece is going to touch. See, I'm just spread some, a light coating, not a lot, just a light little coating. Spread it all around. And then the one that has the squealer attached to it, the metal plate, you will go ahead and put it on top and line it up. And now it's in place. See, there you go, as such. And you can go ahead and put it in the caliper. And again, it's going to go to the side that is closest to the engine bay. So closest to the cabin, if you want to look at it that way. And you can go ahead and slide it on in. Making sure all the clips and everything, there you go. Just make sure it slides in easy. If it doesn't, you can do whatever you need to get it, make sure it does slide in easy. Don't force it. And there it goes. Okay, there's that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the other pad, and whenever I get it prepared and ready to slide it in, I'll turn it back on, and then we'll put the pins and all the other clips in, and I'll show you that process. Just 1 second. All right, guys, I am back. We're ready to slide this next one in. It's greased up. It's ready to be slid in. Here we go. After this, we can put the pins in. Well, let's see if we can get it in here. Again, you don't want to force it. Make sure it's all lined up perfectly. Yep, there it goes. Maybe. There we go. Yep. All right. Next, again, comes your pins. So you go ahead and put them on in. Making sure that, again, they slide on in, that they line up. You don't want to have anything misaligned. That one's on in. on in. And then I'm going to use that clip. It's on the back side. Sure, that's a bit of a pain getting that pin back in there, but we got it. The next thing is the clip, which it came with new clips. So give me a second and I'll run over here and grab them. They're the new clips that attach right there, and they look like so, but they're brand new. Give me just a second, and after that, this job is done, and we just put the wheel back on. Other than actually, I will have to bed these brakes. Apparently, even though they're OEM style, it says they have to be bedded. So we'll have to do that. But here's the clip. It attaches as such. And there it is. Brake job is done. You can now pull off your lug nut there. And just put your wheel back on. And that's it. Until I actually go to bed the brakes. And I'll show you a little bit of that process, I think, and then we'll be done for the day. I hope you enjoyed, and like I said, we'll bed the brakes and I'll walk you through that. 5 moderate decelerations from 35 to 5 without coming to complete stop. So let's try this and see how it turns out. I hope you can hear me, so let me see if I can adjust this microphone just a little bit. I have the air conditioner on because it's kind of hot out and I got the windows up. So let's give this a shot. I have a road here up near my house that is pretty good for this. There's not a lot of traffic on it. I think we'll be able to manage this without coming to complete stop once we start the process. Hopefully these brakes work well. We're gonna find out. So I'm not gonna go above 40 until I get to where I'm going. To do this, it's just right up the road here. There's a pretty good straight shot. And once I get there, I'll know if there's going to be a lot of traffic or not. There's usually not. This back road, there's hardly anything. I'm trying to get ready for the autocross on Sunday. I haven't done an autocross, gosh, in quite some time. I haven't ever done one in the Mustang. I've done a couple in the WRX. I really want this car to be a track car. That's the idea. And I guess the autocross is the goodest place as any to start. I'm going to do a little bit more suspension work to the car before I actually get into some track stuff. I still want to do some struts, which I've done some vertical links recently. The stated vertical links they have been installed on the car, and they actually work very well. I feel like they've helped sturdy up the rear just a little bit. I don't know if they're really a lot to write home about. I haven't drove a lot of curvy roads yet with them. But again, autocross, I guess, will be a good test for those too. So these brakes, again, are just the OEM replacements. I don't expect anything wonderful about them. I have the OEM brake fluid. If they don't do the best, I'll upgrade eventually. That's what I'd like to do is the Hux 5.0 streets. I think that's what I had on the WRX. They done really good. We'll see about those in the future. So right now I got it up to 50. Let's just kind of let it bump down to 40. I'm gonna try to get it on as flat a road as possible instead of using hills. So it says from 40 to I think 5 miles per hour. No, 10. Pretty hard decelerations. The first 4, 5 slowdowns. 5. So let me get it slowed down here just a minute, and we'll go from there. I don't know about the squeaking because I have the windows up, so we'll see about this. So here we go. Okay, got it down to 15. That's pretty good. So let's try this again. Let's get up to 40. That was 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5 without coming to a complete stop. Now 35 to 5, moderate. So, moderate, I guess, is kind of like so-ish. There's moderate. There's 3. Have a group of people behind me here, so I don't know if I'll be able to complete this or not. That's 4. I think that's plenty. It says 5. That's good enough, I think, for OEMs. Now I'm gonna let it cool down. I hope that was enough. I think that was. Anyways, it's kind of the process to do that. They seemed like they were okay. Now I'm supposed to let them cool down for 5 minutes while driving around without stopping. I'm not supposed to come to a complete stop for 5 minutes. And that's really supposed to break them in. And I'll probably just be a little bit light on them without really like doing a whole lot of using of the auto rev match. Kind of put it in neutral and use my own pressure to slow it down for a little bit of time, just to make sure they're actually fully bedded in, probably for the next day or so if I drive it. But before the autocross, just to make sure they're good and broken in. But it does seem like it stopped okay. It seemed kind of similar to what OEM felt like. They were a pretty relatively cheap replacement. I don't know how long the rotors will last. I assume that they'll probably have a little bit of rust issues on the top hats. Pretty common for cheap replacement rotors. I'm okay with that though. Let me see if anybody's behind me. No, there's nobody behind me right now. I might try 5 more of those moderate decelerations from 35 just to make sure it's good. They've cooled down a little bit though, but we're gonna give it a little bit more of a go because I didn't feel like that was good enough. So there's 35. There's moderate. 1. Two. 3. 4. And the last one. Let's do that last 5th one from 35. And here we go. Not a complete stop. And there we go. I think that's all well and good. Now I'm gonna drive around for the 5 minutes. But anyways, thank you for joining me. That's the completion of the brake job. Next video will be from the autocross. And that'll be on Sunday as long as the weather holds out. But thank you again. Bye. Well, after driving it about, I guess, 20-25 miles and breaking the brakes in pretty good, I haven't noticed any squeals. No squeaks. Seems like that was the problem with the reason that it was shuddering a little bit on the decel. I don't know, I haven't driven it hard enough to really tell that for certain, but it's a good possibility. I'm content with it. So we're gonna have to see if when Sunday comes to the Autocross. Just wanted to kind of give you a quick update. That's where it's at the moment. But thank you all again for joining.